Let me call on stage Namira from the Infosys Science Foundation to tell you about the ISF Nutrition Challenge that we held earlier this year. Bhavna?
Thank you, Deepak. Good evening, everyone. The right to food is a basic human right that's recognized internationally. The National Food Security Act was passed into law in India in 2013. And while there are a myriad schemes by NGOs and successive governments, people are still living in hunger. The problem of malnutrition persists. When we decided this year to throw open a grand challenge to students, this was the topic that came to mind immediately, therefore. So, in partnership with the New York Academy of Sciences, we challenged youngsters in India between the ages 13 to 18 to apply scientific thinking to this problem, specifically for children under the age of 6 and for childbearing women. So I'd like to invite Mr. Mohandas Pai, who is the sponsor trustee and a judge on the selection panel, to tell us a little bit more.
Good evening, folks. We chose to challenge students to apply their STEM skills to the problem of malnutrition in India, specifically for women of childbearing age, expectant mothers, and children up to 5 years. The National Health and Family Survey 2015-16 says that around 35% of children in India suffer from malnutrition, many of them because of bad water, a condition that can cause stunted growth and lifelong negative health effects. This also affects their own career prospects and the productivity of the economy. We felt that by challenging students to address this issue, we were accomplishing multiple things. The challenge seeks an innovative solution to a very dire social problem. It gets students to develop a sense of empathy for the peers in India. And two, to the Science Foundation's mission of promoting scientific thinking, it asks solvers to draw on their STEM skills to find a potential solution to the challenge. India has tackled the problem of undernourishment for a very long time, but we still have a long way to go. So the Infosys Science Foundation thought of putting out this challenge to young, bright minds with a fresh perspective so they could use innovative ways to solve this problem. I hope these suggestions go a long way in improving the nutrition levels of expectant mothers and young children in India and realizing a fuller potential of our nation's productivity. Thank you.
Since we're so privileged to have with us, so privileged to have with us a champion of development economics and human rights, Professor Amartya Sen, I would request him to, along with Mr. Pai, present the prizes to the students. And please welcome on stage the runners-up Team Nutri-App. Students, please come on stage. So each member of the top teams have won an exclusive trip to ISRO to watch an inspirational sight, the launch of a rocket. They also receive a membership to the Junior Academy of the New York Academy of Sciences. Congratulations, Arzu, Arnab, Pradyumna, Pratham, and Samvit from Samhita School. Thank you, Mr. Pai, and thank you, Professor Sen. I invite the students to present their solution to us now.
Dignitaries on and off the dais, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow students. A very good evening and a happy new year to you all. We are from the Team Nutri-App, presenting on the nutrition challenge conducted by the Infosys Science Foundation.
The vicious cycle of poverty and poor health are responsible for India having the most number of malnourished women and children, despite being one of the fastest growing economies. A World Bank report brings out the alarming statistics.
We propose to use the power and reach of technology to make the nutrition delivery system more effective. As can be seen here, we will use technology at the policy level to create a holistic database of beneficiaries, and also use technology at the delivery stage for last-mile effectiveness, creating digital footprints along the way for better monitoring and implementation.
It was Arnab who was instrumental in putting the team together. He got interested in the competition and made efforts to bring together fellow classmates with complementary skills.
During our research, we realized that malnutrition exists in India not because of lack of schemes, but mostly because of poor implementation. Hence, we decided to focus on redesigning the implementation strategies. We chose the mobile phone as our medium of program delivery because of its last mile reach, low cost of reach, and convergence capabilities. The idea of the e-food coupon has been designed to deliver a direct-to-beneficiary, leak-proof program.
Nutri-App will link the Aadhaar PHC databases to create a single-source, easily accessible, multi-utility database. Aadhaar will authenticate the target beneficiaries, PHC will overlay the health information of the beneficiaries, and the PDS will help us reach the beneficiaries. The program delivery will be authenticated through an OTP SMS mechanism to link it to the beneficiary's mobile phone. To make the program closed loop, the app will also link the mobile phones of the beneficiaries and the PDS owners.
The 3R process. At the registration stage, the centralized data center will auto-match the beneficiary to the nearest PHC and PDC based on the PIN code algorithm. This will weed out all intermediaries. Beneficiaries will receive the food coupon only after the PHC data is captured, matched, and verified, again, through an algorithm. The last stage is when the coupon can be redeemed for food grains at the PDC. For redemption to happen, the beneficiary OTP and the PDC counterparty OTP have to match. Redemption can be initiated only from the phone of the beneficiary.
We are overwhelmed to be here today and overjoyed to have made it this far in the competition. It is a great honor to be amongst the supremely accomplished and brilliant minds gathered here. We will remain inspired to follow in their footsteps. We would also like to thank the Infosys Science Foundation and the New York Academy of Sciences for creating this wonderful platform for students. We are not here just as a chosen team, but as a representative of the entire student community. This success is as much theirs as it is ours, a stepping stone to further research and work that will benefit the society at large. We would also like to thank our parents and teachers who are here to support us today. Thank you very much, and good night.
We had over 3,000 students express their interest in this contest, and several hundred formed teams and submitted solutions. From among them, our panel of judges chose just 2 top teams. The teams in this virtual challenge were not always face-to-face, and so by default, collaboration was also a skill that the teams had to utilize. The team that captured the imagination of the judges and emerged as winners of this challenge is Team Podible. I welcome you to stage, and Professor Sen and Mr. Pai, I'd request you to do the honors. Congratulations to Keshava and Leela. And Arunima and Prithvi and Sandeep from Team Podible. Thank you, Professor Sen, and thank you, Mr. Pai. So let's hear what they had to offer up against this mammoth problem of malnutrition in India.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. We are Team Podible. My name is Leela, this is Keshava, and we're both from Chennai. Prithvi and Sandeep are from Mysore, and Arunima is from Bangalore. We met through the Junior Academy of the New York Academy of Sciences and have been working on our solution for months now. Malnutrition is India's silent emergency. Nearly 50 million children are malnourished, and that number is over 1/3 of the world's malnourished population. We spend over 72,000 crores on this issue per year, but to no big change in that number. There are still 3,000 deaths every day that are caused by malnutrition. This brought us to our research question. Is it possible to improve upon the current method of supplementing nutrients to pregnant women and malnourished children in India?
First, we wanted to improve on the current nutrient delivery mechanism. We decided to repurpose an existing product. We took already commercially available produced water-soluble pods and filled it with 1/3 of the daily recommended intake of nutrients. This pod could then be added to meals cooked in Anganwadi centers to fortify their nutritional value, just like one would add an ingredient to the cooking process. Once the pod dissolves, it delivers a payload of nutrients and leaves no trace, be it visually or by taste. The way these pods are constructed is by encasing a mixture of nutrients in monosol, a water-soluble film. Since it's already commercially available, we can take it to manufacturing immediately. The nutrients we've decided to include are those that pregnant women and children need the most: iron, zinc, omega-2, folate, and calcium.
After conceptualizing our research project, the next step was to create and test it, so we created a minimum viable product. We created a pod with just enough features to satisfy rudimentary tests and to provide feedback for future iterations. The pod itself was created using commercially available vitamin jelly. We observed the nutrient delivery mechanism and dissolution by adding it to water heated at 97 degrees, and later confirmed the presence of iron, zinc, and omega through basic nutrient tests. Although our MVP did not incorporate all the features that we hoped it would, we were successful in creating a proof of concept.
So we wanted to know whether our awareness project was an actual requirement for our success. So we surveyed over 150 people in the surrounding areas of Mysore. These people included 10-year-olds all the way to 70-year-olds, and we realized that all of this was under a different socioeconomic demographic. Our results show that over 63% of people didn't even know that an Anganwadi center existed, and 43% were unaware of the periodic government health checkups. We realized the fundamental problem was lying within the implementation of the intervention. So we have 3 main ways to tackle this. The first being using existing nutrient pods. The second, the use of a data-driven approach by promoting existing programs through the 2020 census. And the final being using a cloud-based SMS platform to inform of existing programs within geotag locations. We realized that a lot of this is, in the end of the day, the monitoring of the process. So we wanted to next monitor children who come to the Anganwadi centers regularly. We plan to use weight, height, and activity of children as measures to understand their progress. This review will be done periodically and made sure that children are getting the required supplements over time.
There are 1.4 million Anganwadi centers across India, but there are issues with resource allocation across them. To combat this, we created a ranking algorithm that takes 3 different data points into account: water quality index, malnourishment statistics, and infant mortality rate. It then assigns an index and ranks them accordingly. Using this index, we would be able to allocate resources proportionally to need. Our final conclusion was that nutrient pods are very inexpensive but super impactful. They are easily delivered through Anganwadi centers, and we created a proprietary algorithm to fix resource allocation. Overall, our solution covers all necessary scientific, social, and societal impacts of malnutrition. On behalf of the team, I'd like to thank the Infosys Science Foundation and the New York Academy of Sciences for this opportunity. We're all incredibly humbled to be in the same room as so many great minds in their field, and we'd also like to take a second to thank our family and our teachers who have brought us this far. Thank you all for listening.